Alright, we're back. Do a little bucket update. Hit her with a sandblaster pretty hard yesterday. This is, you can see that's where the paint, original paint was still stuck, kinda, so that's, I mean, whatever. I do believe this bucket's had some work done on it. I think this front edge has been replaced once. The reason I think that is, well, you can see it's been blown out. It's got a crack in there, and this weld's garbage and blown out. I'm gonna work on that, get that fixed up. I think these blocks have been replaced because these welds don't look like something a factory worker would do. Like this one, the porosity on that, I don't believe that would pass. I mean, it's not a bad, it was a good repair job. That just let loose. They just didn't get enough penetration. So I'm going to assume that that bead's good. I'm just going to use that bead and blast it in on the side, and it'll be good. That's all I got left. This one side and the back end of it. I had enough yesterday. Sandblasted for 45 minutes. Just kidding. It was a while. We did a little bit of sandblasting yesterday. So, to make this video interesting, we're going to check these out. Some old school sieves, classifiers. So, I've been using this black blast, I guess is what they call it. Abrasive crystals. I think I used 150 pounds yesterday, and when I was all done, I swept up for the day. I ended up with 2 5-gallon buckets full, a little over 2 5-gallon buckets, so little attrition. Did a quick sieve last night when I was just picking up because there's shit everywhere. I mean, I blew the driveway off with a leaf blower, but still, like, life happens, so I did a quick classification with the number 8 sieve. I got the big chunks out. And I kind of forgot I had this little tiny one. I'm not even sure if it'll work. We're gonna test it out real quick. See if it's even in the ballpark of being appropriately sized for classifying this out. I'm hoping. Ooh, it's a rock and roll star. Probably should have my mask on, but I'll go slow, kids. Thanks for thinking about me. Oh, that's gonna work perfect. So, wind's blowing that way, you're safe. That's what we're getting out. Rust chunks and pine needles. I should probably do something more appropriate, but I think right here is a good spot for them because that's how I roll. Came from nature, it's going back to nature. So, that's good. Let's look at some of the equipment I'm using here. I bought this sandblaster, about 20 years ago. There's this company that you kids may not be familiar with called Sears and Roebuck and Company. they've pretty much gone the way of the dinosaur. But it's the old siphon feed, so you put your abrasive bits in there. There's a little air port here. Put your compressed air in there. It creates a siphon and just sucks it and just blasts it. Having the big air compressor makes a huge difference. I mean, that Quincy, man, I tell you what, this thing is a beast. I mean, this thing ran all day. Well, not all day, half a day. I put a good solid half day in. But this compressor here is a jam. I think it's capable of just spitting shit. Yeah, best purchase I've made in a long time. So yeah, normally I wouldn't go through this much work, but if you hadn't seen the previous video, this bucket was pretty oxidized. They use it for a fertilizer bucket. And I was just afraid if I just kind of said screw it and went with it, it would just keep chewing away. So my goal here was to blast out that corrosive element. I mean, I don't deal with fertilizer. My corrosive element experience is salt on the roads. And you get salt from the roads on your metal, and it just chews your metal up, and it never stops. So I'm thinking, well, if I can at least get whatever that corrosive element is off the metal, I'm gonna hit it with primer. I was just gonna paint it and say fuck it, but I figured after all this work I put into this thing, I'm gonna pick up some primer. I'm gonna prime this thing, and then I'll paint it, and then that's just gonna be as good as it is. I may hit it with a orbital disc too, just to kind of knock, because this is still kind of rough. Like the differences. I mean, it probably doesn't need it, but shit, if I'm going to do this much work, I might as well do a little more work. So as far as personal protection, I'm doing this 3M face or respirator. I got a full Tyvek suit going with hood. Got a face shield over the whole thing, which is probably gonna see, that's pretty well pitted. And then I'm using these ear protections to keep the sand out of my ears. Using these rubber face gloves. So keeping a lot of the sand off. I got a little spot down by between my neck and my beard where a little aggregate kind of slips in there, but not too bad. Luckily the weather's been perfect. Like yesterday it was like 70 something degrees and partly cloudy. It was like, oh my god, I couldn't ask for anything better. I had a subscriber that wanted me to come over and take a look at some stuff. It's like, dude, I'm going to be sandblasting for probably, I don't even want to tell you how many hours, but several hours I spent yesterday sandblasting. It's like, no, I'm going to have to look at your stuff on another day because it's officially summer and it's in the 70s and I'm sandblasting. So like, until you've ever sandblasted, you know the difference between sweating your balls off and it's just becoming a sand monster. So we're going to have to put the visits on hold till this thing's a little farther along, but hopefully no one's feelings were hurt. But yeah, I'm going to classify this stuff out, get it all batched up, and then, I mean, that was kind of the biggest ass ache was having to sweep up, you know, every so often you got to sweep the area, gather it up, classify it out. And like in my infinite wisdom, because I kind of forgot I had those, this is what I was using. I was sifting with this. So I would have to like put a little scoop in there and sift it out. It's like, oh my god, what am I doing? Well, I had this too. This was the original. That goes in the sandblasting thing. So I was trying to put it in that. It's like, dude, I'm gonna be here for a month. I gotta figure out a better way. And then finally my brain kicked in, and I remember these things. They're old. They were a donation from what would you call that? A subscriber, or a subscriber's wife donated those. And they were acquisitions through, I'm not even sure. Someone left it behind, I think, maybe. They're probably actually like an antique, but you know what? The best kind of antique is the kind of antique that gets used. But they're like, I'll read this thing. U.S. Standard Civ Series. Made in the USA. Evanston, Illinois. It's an 80 mesh, or 8 mesh, sorry. Yeah, they're good. They're solid. I mean, those are legit. I've got one more size bigger than that, than a huge one for like, there's a solid pan in the bottom. There's that fine mesh. There's that mesh, and there's two more. The one I use for sieving my ashes out. I shovel my ash out of my fireplace, and then I sieve it and pull the charcoal out so I can put that back in the fireplace, because that's really good for starting the fires, having those charcoal bits in there. But that's just me. But yeah, so we're gonna keep at it here. Oh, I got some, let me see if I can show you these. We're getting close to my self-imposed time limit. Let's see, pick these up. We're gonna see how this works. So I figure I'm doing all this crap, might as well make this bucket legit. And since they added this piece of angle iron here, this thing's extra stout. Like, that ain't going anywhere. Unless, of course, that corrosive material's inside, that is just gonna eat it from the inside. But whatever. I picked up some weld-on hooks. So I was hoping that somehow I could like maybe I could just weld them onto there. That might be what I do. I mean, these tabs are on here. What do you do when you have tabs already attached to your thing? Do you employ them? And they seem pretty well attached. My thought was to go on the side of them. I don't know if there's an advantage. I mean, I might just go with that. I mean, I don't know how else to... I could cut them off, I guess. Yeah, my fantasy, I was going to go on the side of it. I could get a bead there, but maybe I just go up front like that. Yeah, that's probably what I ended up doing. Well, that's about a half-inch piece of steel there. Just about the width of the hook. What's the worst that could happen? Is that a bad idea, kids? I mean, where else can I could put them out here. Nice. Nice work. I don't know. I'll figure it out. They're going on someplace. But yeah, that's also going to happen. Alright, stay safe. Yeah, like my chair. Sandblasting chair.